Blackhead prevention works best when it is gentle, steady, and realistic, because blackheads usually develop slowly as oil, dead skin cells, sweat, leftover product, and ordinary daily friction collect around the opening of the pore over time. So the smartest goal is not to attack the skin, but to keep it calmer, cleaner, and less congested without creating fresh irritation. A simple routine is often more effective than an exciting one. Cleanse the face in the morning and again at night with a mild cleanser and lukewarm water, because very hot water can strip the skin barrier and leave the face feeling tight, dry, and more reactive. Use your fingertips rather than rough scrubs, abrasive washcloths, or stiff cleansing brushes, because blackhead-prone skin usually responds better to calm handling than to aggressive rubbing. If you sweat after exercise, yard work, housework, hot weather, or a long day under sunscreen and makeup, it helps to rinse or cleanse the skin as soon as practical, because sweat mixed with oil and residue can sit on the skin and add to that heavy, clogged feeling. Avoid squeezing, scraping, pinching, digging, or trying to force blackheads out at home, because that often causes more redness, swelling, irritation, lingering marks, and regret than the original blackheads ever caused. Choose non-comedogenic products whenever possible, including moisturizer, sunscreen, makeup, and hair products, especially if your hair touches your forehead, temples, or cheeks. A lightweight moisturizer can help, because skin that becomes too dry often becomes irritated, and irritated skin makes people impatient, and impatient people are exactly the ones most likely to stand too close to a bathroom mirror and start making decisions they would not defend the next morning. If you use over-the-counter acne care, it is usually smarter to begin slowly with one well-chosen active ingredient instead of layering several strong treatments at once. Salicylic acid may help keep pores clearer, and adapalene may help reduce clogged pores over time, but patience matters more than panic. Improvement usually comes from steady use over time, not from one dramatic weekend of treating your face like a chemistry experiment. Remove makeup before bed. Change pillowcases regularly. Clean the things that touch your face often, like phone screens, eyeglass frames, hat bands, and helmet straps. Keep heavier oils and styling products away from acne-prone skin when you can. Try not to rest your face in your hands for long stretches while reading, thinking, worrying, driving, scrolling, or politely listening to a story that should have ended 15 minutes ago. Stress management matters too, not because stress alone causes every blackhead, but because stress often leads to poor sleep, rushed cleansing, more face touching, more picking, skipped routines, and the kind of late-night bathroom behavior that always feels strangely productive until daylight arrives with a very different opinion. Diet does not need to become a courtroom trial, but hydration, regular meals, moderation, and decent sleep support better daily habits overall. If blackheads are stubborn, widespread, mixed with inflamed acne, or simply not improving despite a sensible routine, professional guidance may save time and frustration. Prevention is rarely glamorous. It usually looks like repeating calm habits, reducing friction, choosing products the skin can tolerate, and remembering that steady care beats dramatic interference most of the time. And that same principle, the principle that not every tiny flaw needs to be attacked with force, would have sounded very wise to Clyde Morrison of Maple Glen Senior Village in western North Carolina, although Clyde would not have listened to it the first time, because Clyde had spent 77 years believing that almost every problem in life could be improved by better labeling, calmer voices, and a sensible chair arrangement. Clyde was a retired hardware store manager with a square chin, an excellent set of eyebrows for disapproval, and the habit of folding newspapers as if they were legal documents. He lived with his wife Ruth in a white duplex with a blue bird feeder, a porch swing, and a hallway closet full of batteries sorted by size, age, and what Clyde called likelihood of betrayal. Ruth was 74, a retired librarian with kind eyes, a quick laugh, and the serene patience of a woman who had spent more than 50 years watching one very decent man turn ordinary inconveniences into personal engineering projects. Maple Glen Senior Village was one of those American retirement communities where people claim to love peace and quiet while simultaneously creating enough events to run a county fair. There was low-impact aerobics on Monday, card club on Tuesday, movie night on Wednesday, community lunch on Thursday, gospel sing on Friday, and on the second Saturday of every spring there was the grandkids and pets picnic, which was exactly what it sounded like, and therefore more dangerous than it first appeared. Families visited. Children ran around with juice boxes and paper flags. Dogs wore bandanas they had not consented to. Someone always brought deviled eggs. Someone else always lost a folding chair. There was a pet parade, a lemonade table, a three-legged race nobody needed, and a talent corner where pets were encouraged to do tricks of wildly variable quality. Clyde hated this picnic in theory. He did not hate children. He did not hate pets. He hated the combination of sugar, folding tables, uneven lawns, and public optimism. A dog should be walked, he would say. A child should be shaded. Neither one needs a costume. Ruth would smile and say, "That's because you were born 62. Clyde's closest friends at Maple Glen were Harvey Ellis, 79, retired body shop owner, hard of hearing in ways that changed depending on whether anyone was asking him to carry something. Lorna Beck, 73, former church secretary, sharp as a paper cutter and twice as neat, and Melvin Shore, 80, widower, retired high school band director, owner of a cane, a fedora, and a laugh so warm it made every bad idea seem briefly forgivable. The trouble began on a Friday afternoon when Ruth said, "Tomorrow I told Denise we'd help for an hour." Clyde looked up from a small screwdriver kit he was reorganizing for no urgent reason. "We? Yes, we. I do not remember authorizing we. That is because I did not ask permission. I informed the marriage. Denise, the activities coordinator, was a woman in her late 60s with coral lipstick, fast shoes, and the organizational instincts of a battlefield nurse with glitter pens. She could persuade 6 people to move tables just by looking at the room as if she already saw them doing it. The next morning, Clyde and Ruth arrived at the picnic lawn carrying 2 coolers, 1 box of paper napkins, and Clyde's private hope that if he looked busy enough with practical items, nobody would ask more of him. The lawn already buzzed with cheerful nonsense. Grandchildren darted under tables. A dachshund in a red bow tie barked at a bubble machine. A golden retriever named Biscuit wore a hat shaped like a hamburger. Somebody's grandson had tied ribbons to a turtle wagon. Denise was at the center of everything with a clipboard in one hand and a whistle in the other, even though no whistle should ever be necessary near coleslaw. "Clyde," she called the second she saw him. He stopped walking. "No. No what?" "Whatever sentence is trying to leave your face." Denise put a hand to her chest. "You wound me. That would be more persuasive if you weren't already handing me tasks with your eyes." Ruth bit her lip to stop the laugh too early. Denise stepped close and lowered her voice. "Marty, our announcer, lost his voice at karaoke last night trying to sing Elvis with a key he had no legal right to approach. I need someone to handle the microphone for the pet parade in the talent corner." Clyde looked at her with full moral exhaustion. "No. You have a clear voice. That is not a personality invitation. You know everyone's name. That is because I pay attention, which has become a curse. You're calm under pressure." Harvey, passing with a bucket of ice, barked out a laugh. "That's true. He can sound disappointed at any crisis level." Denise leaned in for the kill. "Just until 2 o'clock. Read names, call the next event, keep people moving." Clyde looked to Ruth for support. Ruth set down the napkins, folded her arms, and said, "You do project nicely." "I am being ambushed by marriage and recreation," Clyde said. But he took the microphone. That was how it started. Not from ambition, not from secret desire. From a microphone, a lawn full of unstable sweetness, and a man who disliked disorder too much to watch it run loose if he could help it. At noon sharp, Denise rang the little brass handbell and announced, "Our emergency host for today is the one and only Clyde Morrison." The crowd applauded. Clyde closed his eyes for one brief second, and then stepped forward with the resigned posture of a man asked to moderate a parade of labradoodles before lunch. "All right," he said into the microphone. "If you can hear me, please stop moving in all directions at once." The entire lawn laughed immediately. Even the children paused because children can sense authority when it arrives wearing orthopedic shoes. Clyde continued. "The pet parade begins in 5 minutes. Dogs to the left. Cats, if any, to whoever made that decision. Children with costumes, please remain attached to a known adult." The room broke again. Denise slapped the raffle table in triumph. Ruth sat down in a folding chair and crossed her ankles with the smile of a woman who had just seen a piano fall exactly onto the note she expected. The pet parade began. Clyde held the microphone and the registration cards. "First up, Daisy, dressed as a strawberry. I have no follow-up questions." Laughter. "Next, Mr. Wiggles, a corgi in a sailor suit, which feels historically inaccurate but determined." More laughter. "And here we have Biscuit, the golden retriever, as a hamburger. I believe this is the first time I have ever introduced lunch as a mammal." The crowd adored him. They adored him not because he was polished, but because he sounded like a man trying to preserve order while the world insisted on being funny. An old terrier in angel wings peed on a folding chair. Clyde said, "That chair is now retired from active service." A cockatiel escaped its perch, flew once around the shade tent, and landed on the lemonade sign. Clyde squinted up and said, "Whoever brought the bird, your friend appears to have chosen leadership." Even Lorna laughed so hard she had to take off her glasses and wipe them with the hem of her cardigan. But the true problem arrived at 1:15, right when the Pet Talent Corner was scheduled to begin. The first few acts were manageable. A beagle sat when bribed aggressively. A girl in pink boots showed that her rabbit could hop through a cardboard hoop if nobody breathed too loudly. A poodle in bow spun twice, and then lost interest in performance as a concept. Clyde narrated all of it with the dry, practical tone of a man documenting weather damage for insurance. That was technically a spin. The rabbit has given us its best and requests labor boundaries. No one should pressure a poodle after the second turn. The crowd was now larger than before, because word had spread that Clyde was somehow making the whole thing better by disapproving of it gently in public. Even residents who normally skipped outdoor events had wandered over with lemonade to hear what he'd say next. This was when Mrs. Geneva Pritchard arrived with her daughter, her grandson, and a miniature donkey named Jasper, wearing patriotic ribbon braids, silver hoof glitter, and an expression of deep philosophical patience. Clyde stared. "That," he said into the microphone, "appears to be a donkey." Geneva lifted her chin proudly. "Miniature donkey," Clyde nodded once, "as opposed to all those full-size ones we see near the bean dip." The audience nearly folded in half. Jasper, calm and handsome and much too confident in public, stood near the talent ring, chewing something invisible and looking more prepared than most people. Geneva's grandson, a boy of 10 with the unstoppable joy of borrowed responsibility, announced, "Jasper can carry a basket, bow on command, and ring a bell with his nose." Denise, who had somehow already attached patriotic bunting to the talent corner arch, whispered, "This is marvelous." Clyde muttered, "This is a logistics event wearing eyelashes." The first part of Jasper's act went beautifully. He carried the basket. He paused. He bowed. Children clapped. The crowd oohed. Clyde said, "I regret to inform everyone that the donkey is the most composed participant so far." Then the boy tied a little ribboned bell to a stand and tried to cue the nose ring. What no one noticed was that one of the toddlers from the guest area had wandered over carrying half a hot dog in a paper tray. Jasper noticed. Animals always notice. The donkey's ears turned. The boy called, "Ring the bell, Jasper!" Jasper instead stepped decisively out of the ring, ignored the bell, and began walking with graceful determination toward the child and the hot dog. The crowd gasped, and then, because everyone assumed it would all sort itself out, laughed a little too soon. Clyde straightened. Someone retrieved the toddler. Denise moved left. The boy's mother moved right. The toddler, delighted by the attention, moved backward directly into the path of a low wagon full of raffle baskets. Jasper followed with the steady focus of a creature who had spent very little of his life apologizing for his intentions. A Pomeranian in a shark fin harness began barking at once. Biscuit the hamburger dog joined in. Two grandsons from Akron, visiting someone nobody had fully identified, started chanting, "Donkey, donkey," as if this were helping. Clyde clicked the microphone off, then on again, then said in the firmest voice he had, "Nobody run. Running makes every problem athletic," which was such a perfectly Clyde sentence that half the audience laughed even while events deteriorated. Jasper reached the raffle wagon, stopped, and with one clean, curious tug pulled a patriotic ribbon loose. The wagon rolled. 3 raffle baskets wobbled. One basket containing bath salts and a candle slid toward the grass. Denise lunged. The toddler was scooped up by his mother. The hot dog flew from the paper tray in one beautiful dumb arc and landed directly beside the cooler table. Biscuit the hamburger dog saw it. The Pomeranian saw Biscuit see it and took this personally. Suddenly there were 2 dogs, 1 donkey, 1 runaway wagon, 1 screaming but unharmed child, and a crowd of older Americans rising from lawn chairs, with the dangerous energy of people who wanted to help but had conflicting needs. Clyde took one look at the entire scene, stepped up onto the little hay bale used as a talent stage marker, and said into the microphone, "Everybody stay where you are, unless you are already holding the wrong animal." The lawn froze. Even Denise stopped. For one shining half-second, the authority worked. Then Jasper, who had apparently decided the raffle basket with the blue tissue paper looked promising, nudged the wagon again. It rolled 6 feet, clipped the leg of the dessert table, and the giant chocolate sheet cake intended for after the pet parade lurched sideways. Ruth, from her folding chair, saw disaster coming like a weather front. She stood up with the speed of a woman who had once caught a falling stack of choir folders during Easter rehearsal and moved with astonishing calm. Denise grabbed the wagon. Geneva took the donkey lead. The toddler's mother backed away. The 2 Akron grandsons quit chanting and began narrating instead. "The donkey almost got the cake." "No, the dog did." Meanwhile, Clyde, still on the hay bale, still holding the microphone, still unwilling to let chaos win without at least excellent documentation, said, "I would like the minutes to show that the donkey has expanded beyond talent into governance." The place came apart. The crowd was laughing too hard to remain properly worried. Even Geneva, who had every right to be mortified, had one hand over her mouth and tears in her eyes. Jasper, now secured and surprisingly serene, stood beside her looking like a man who had entered the wrong committee and improved it. Ruth, having stabilized the chocolate cake with one hand and an expression of total married inevitability, looked up at Clyde and simply shook her head. He looked back with the helpless dignity of a man who had, in less than 20 minutes, become the official voice of a donkey incident. But the funniest part was that it did not end there. Once the immediate crisis was contained, The crowd began chanting for Jasper to finish. Denise, whose standards for continuing an event were dangerously low when public joy was involved, asked Geneva if the donkey still had one more trick. Geneva, still laughing, said, "He can ring the bell if we keep the hot dog off state property." So they reset the bell. The boy took a deep breath. Jasper stepped forward. The crowd hushed. And in one perfect absurd act of redemption, the little donkey leaned out and rang the bell with his nose exactly on cue. The lawn exploded. People stood and applauded. Children screamed happily. Clyde lowered the microphone and laughed right into it, which made the speaker boom with his laughter across the whole common, like the official sound of surrender. Once he caught his breath, he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm prepared to declare Jasper the winner of talent, morale, and strategic chaos." That line became the line of the day. By the time the picnic wound down, people were already repeating it back to him in clusters. Denise hugged him. "You saved the event." "No," he said. "The event escaped and then came back wearing ribbons." Lorna walked over with 2 cups of lemonade. "I hope you understand you can never sit quietly at one of these again." "I reject that entirely. You can reject it all the way to next month's talent hour." Harvey thumped him on the back and said, "Best host we ever had." Even the donkey listened. "The donkey did not listen," Clyde said. "The donkey conducted a small coup." Ruth sat him down finally, with a paper plate of cake and one long look. "Well?" she asked. He took a bite, swallowed, and stared out over the lawn, where people were still talking, folding chairs, gathering children, and taking photos with Jasper. "I suppose it was not a complete waste of a Saturday." Ruth laughed. "There he is." By Sunday morning, the whole community had transformed the event into legend. The clubhouse notice board featured a handwritten sign reading "Pet Talent Hour next year, by order of Jasper." Someone left a toy donkey on Clyde's porch. Denise texted Ruth a photo she'd taken of Clyde on the hay bale with the caption "Community Leadership Under Hoof Pressure." At coffee, the Akron grandsons did a dramatic reenactment using a napkin holder as the raffle wagon. Even people who had not attended now had opinions about the donkey, the cake, and Clyde's line about governance. But the part that mattered most was quieter. Something in him softened after that afternoon. Not his standards, exactly. He still believed folding chairs should be spaced properly, and dogs should never be dressed as lunch. He still thought raffle baskets invited instability. But he no longer believed every small descent into silliness was a threat to order. Sometimes it was just life enjoying itself. A few evenings later, he and Ruth sat on their porch swing while the sky turned lavender over the roofs and the first porch lights blinked awake one by one. A cicada rattled somewhere in the hedge. The air smelled faintly of grass and citronella. Ruth sipped iced tea and said, "You know what still makes me laugh?" Clyde sighed. "That there are too many possible answers?" "No. My favorite part is that you spent years trying to stand outside these events as if you were too sensible for them, and the minute you got dragged into the middle, you made the whole thing better." He rocked once. "That is not how I would summarize the donkey part." "No," she said. "You would write an incident report and pretend that's a personality." He smiled despite himself. "The donkey did create a preventable sequence." "Yes," Ruth said. "And then you stopped trying to control the sequence and just helped people enjoy it." He sat with that for a minute. Then he said, "You know, it's not so different from skin." Ruth turned and laughed before he had even fully explained himself. "Absolutely not. You are not connecting blackheads to a donkey." "Why not?" "Same principle. People see a little problem, they panic, they squeeze, they scrub, they overdo it, they create a larger event than necessary. Better to be steady, gentle, and stop before the whole thing wanders into the raffle baskets." Ruth laughed so hard she had to set down her glass. That is one of the worst correct things you've ever said. Still correct. Annoyingly, yes. And maybe that is the real connection between preventing blackheads and getting through ordinary life without exhausting yourself. Not every little flaw needs to be squeezed. Not every irritation improves under pressure. Not every small bit of chaos needs a lecture, a louder voice, or a complete emergency response. Sometimes the wiser answer is gentler, slower, steadier, and less dramatic. Clean what needs cleaning. Reduce the friction. Keep the routines simple. Do enough, and then stop. And if the donkey still rings the bell after nearly stealing the show, if the cake still slides, if the dogs still bark and the grandsons still narrate the collapse like sports announcers, then laugh, sit down, and let the thing become a story instead of a wound. Clyde Morrison never became carefree in any permanent or saintly sense. He still distrusted poor chair spacing, still labeled extension cords, and still believed most community chaos could be prevented by one sensible person arriving 20 minutes early. But after the spring, he accidentally became the voice of the pet picnic and discovered that public silliness was survivable, even useful, and occasionally a great deal of fun. He carried his dignity a little looser, his wife's laughter a little more gratefully, and his own urge to overmanage with much less authority than before. For a man like Clyde, that was real progress, and for Maple Glen it was even better because it became one of those stories older Americans tell over lemonade, cake, paper plates, and lawn chairs, a story about marriage, small disasters, laughter, and the comforting truth that people can still surprise themselves long after they think every useful part of them has already been labeled, sorted, and put away for good.